There's three phases to the fire of God within a man. And the first one is individualistic, where the things of God just consumes him. Like he's just always thinking about God. He's thinking about, what is God thinking about that? What is God thinking about what I'm doing? And so the function of this fire is to keep him holy. So he can't just do any sin in secret because God consumes his mind. So he knows God is watching. The second stage of this fire advances. It goes from individualistic, where it only has an impact on you, to becoming interpersonal. So just like how fire spreads, you will now want to spread the word of God to other people. And if you want to disobey, it actually begins to torment you yourself. So this is why the prophet Jeremiah said, I will no longer mention his name, nor speak of him anymore. But his word is like a fire shut up in my bones, and it makes me weary. And so, just like with me, I didn't want to preach initially, man, for quite a long time. But the more you hold it back, it begins to like torment you yourself that, no, I need to do this. And in the final phase, this fire will begin to become impactful. So you have two types of responses typically, where there'll be one group of people who will actually be attracted, and they'll actually be very much interested, just like when we see fire, because of its radiance and constant shape changing, we want to come and look at it and see it. And these people are typically impacted because a lot of people are interested in the things of God. But then there's also a group of people who hate God. When they come near to that fire, they want to get away with it because fire burns. And they usually have a heart that just doesn't like God at all. And you shouldn't be too worried about it. So the main question is, how does one become on fire for God? Well, it's actually simple. The Bible calls God a consuming fire. And anything that touches fire also becomes a blaze. So whenever you come into contact with God through constant prayer, constant reading of the Word of God, constant worship, and I emphasize this constancy because when you're not constantly keeping up the fire, eventually it goes out. So you have to continue these things every single day. It has to become a lifestyle. But there's also things that can extinguish this fire, such as sin, particularly sins of sexual immorality, porn watching, masturbation, sex before marriage. And there's also things that maybe aren't particularly sinful, but when you overindulge in them, such as secular music or too much games, then these things can kind of dwindle the fire.